Hi, today's Ask Kelly is from Michelle, and she has asked, I can't trust myself around food. I need to have a strict plan to follow, otherwise I will just eat anything. I've tried intuitive eating, and all I did was crave and wanted all the foods that I binge on, and I know that they're not good for me. How do I trust myself around food? Well, most likely this is a mindset or belief that has been born out of a history of dieting or disordered eating behaviours. I know this as you use the terms strict plan and foods that I binge on. The reason you don't feel like you can trust yourself around food is that you've put these rules and labels on food. And this has resulted in behaviours such as restriction, deprivation, and most likely you have negative feelings and emotions connected to these foods and eating them. The combination of unhelpful mindsets, perceptions, behaviours and emotions results in increasing the desire, attention and focus on these foods, which in turn is likely to lead to binging behaviours. It is these unhealthy, unconscious patterns that are making you feel as though you can't trust yourself around food. Well, really, if we think about it, it's around certain foods. In reality, the pattern is disempowering you as you are lacking the correct understanding, knowledge, skills and tools to be able to change this space. You need to empower yourself by learning new things. There are 3 main steps to doing this. Step 1, discover and understand the truth. Now, I want to be clear here. Everybody has cravings. This is normal. However, for those with disordered eating behaviours, a history of yo-yo dieting or addiction, things have a few more layers that you need to really understand. Because as they say, knowledge is power. Each episode or situation needs to be unpacked on its own so you can objectively discover the real why behind it instead of using all of that false diet construct that you're using right now. And what you're doing by putting all of this false diet construct around it, and what I mean by that is all the beliefs, mindsets, memories of the past, all of that, is that you continue to disempower yourself and you set yourself up for internalized failure. So I hope that makes sense. So here are just a couple of the real reasons why, or what's really underlying the moments when you say you can't trust yourself. When you haven't eaten for longer than 4 hours, you actually put yourself into starvation mode and it creates a biochemical imbalance. And then you're at the mercy of your biochemistry and it's difficult for you to actually make better, healthier choices. And then, now I'm just going to rattle off a list of things, and it can be a combination or just one of these things that can actually make you vulnerable to the sight, smell and memory of food, which then leads to obsessional thinking about food, cravings, and can most likely lead to binging. Now, here we go. You ready? Restriction, deprivation, lack of sleep, stress, dehydration, physical pain, natural energy lulls, mood, emotions. There's quite a few of them, and that's not the end of the list. So these are just some of the reasons for what's happening, and it's got nothing to do with trust. Now, step 2, know your food stories. The stories you have created about certain foods or around certain foods and ways of eating are one of the biggest causes of not trusting yourself. So it's your stories, your perceptions, your rules and the emotions you've attached to food that can either see you maintain the unhealthy patterns and keep sabotaging yourself, or alternatively break the unhealthy patterns by creating new healthy stories. So here are some questions you can start with. Where did this story, perception or rule come from? Because no doubt it's not yours. It's come from somewhere else or someone else. What memories and emotions are attached to this food story or rule? Why do I have these emotions? Now, step 3, change the perception. Let's change the perception of food so you can start discovering your true food stories. And you do this by writing a list of all the foods that fit into the following lists. Foods that you, like, if you eat them, you just, honestly, you can't stop and you will binge on them. And what I call these foods is trigger foods or excitation foods. Now, this is not based on rules of restriction or dieting. This is actually based on you truly testing the foods and finding out if each and every time you eat it, it leads to an overeat or a binge, then it goes on the list. And here's just some examples: milk chocolate, white chocolate, chips or crisps, and pizza. Now, nutritious quality foods that you like that do not cause any form of disordered eating. Now, separate them. All the proteins, plant and animal sources, dairy, veggies, fruit, good fats, so nuts, seeds, avocado and healthy oils, because we definitely need these, and then carbs. We need these in our diet. What grains, cereals, breads can you eat? Now, by unpacking all of this information about food, you take away the emotional memories, rules, and you start seeing food for food. And that's all it is. It's just food. You can actually start identifying food in the situations that do trigger binges and the real reasons why, instead of all of the BS from dieting, rules, and unhealthy perceptions and patterns that have built up over time. And this process will take time. It will take weeks and months to unpack and test. So be patient, be curious, and leave the judgment and the criticism outside this space so you can actually understand, truly understand, and reflect each moment, each food without bias. So good luck. If you've got a question for me that you would like me to answer, just click on the link below and send in your question. Subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss out on the latest video as soon as it becomes available. Talk soon.